Photoshop Workspace. Photoshop Workspace. So what about Photoshop Workspace and Photoshop Search? If you'd like to search for anything on Photoshop, what about Photoshop Search? Photoshop Search features powerful search functionality that lets you search across UI elements, documents, and help and learning content, and inspiring stock assets, and much more. And all from within a unified dialog. And you can search for items right after launching Photoshop, or when one or more documents are open. And the in-application search experience also lets you find, filter, sort, and import your Lightroom photos into Photoshop. And how to begin searching on Photoshop, how to begin the searching on Photoshop. In Photoshop, by the way, do any of the following now to search. You have to use select edit, then select search, and use the Ctrl F keyboard shortcuts, and an initial launch. Click the search icon in the right extremity of the options bar to the left of the workspace switcher icon, like this screenshot now. In this picture now, it's meaning search icon in the option bar on Photoshop, and B is meaning search icon workspace switcher. B is meaning workspace switcher on the search bar. And note and be careful here now. In earlier releases of Photoshop, Ctrl F used to be the keyboard shortcut for reapplying the last used filter, and beginning the 2017 release of Photoshop CC, it invokes the Photoshop search experience. And to set a different keyboard shortcut for reapplying the last used filter, see customize keyboard shortcuts. So what about scope of search? Scope of search. Using the Photoshop search functionality, you can find items across the following UI elements and tools and panels, including the styles panel, and menu items, and new document presets, and open documents, and recent files, and layers, and smart objects, and help and learning content, documentation, and instructional tutorials, and stock assets, and your Lightroom photos. And note and be careful again, the search scope don't currently include library elements and individual styles, and the search scope shows menu items that are disabled too, like this screenshot now. Look at this screenshot now. Search interface. If you'd like to search for anything on Photoshop, all Photoshop and Learn and Stock and LR Photo search tabs, and Photoshop organizes search results into the following tabs. We have all. The first one, it's all. What about all in Photoshop in search? Displays all will displays for you in order Photoshop UI elements, help and learn content, and Adobe Stock assets. And second one is Photoshop and crop. And all is meaning crop tool. If you would like to crop and trim anything, crop and straighten photo in Photoshop. And Photoshop, second one is will be Photoshop. After all, Photoshop displays. Photoshop is displays only results from the Photoshop UI tools, commands and panels, and presets, and open documents and layers. Okay, Photoshop is display for you only results from Photoshop UI tools and commands and panels and presets and open documents and layers. And also crop tool, crop and straighten Photoshop and trim. And after that, learn. Learn is displays for you Photoshop help and documentation and learning content relevant to the keyword, like this screenshot now. And stock. After that, stock. We have learn, and after that, stock. Stock is meaning displays Adobe Stock images relevant to the keyword. To search experience, minimizes the number of clicks required to add a stock image to your project. And the stock images here include photographs and vector graphics, like this screenshot now. We have a stock image, stock. And after that, Lightroom. After that, Lightroom lets you find, filter, and sort and import Lightroom photos matching the search keywords into Photoshop. And the last option, and finally, the last option, LR Photo work with your Lightroom photo in Photoshop, and do not, and be careful, dismiss the search dialog, pass escape or Ctrl F, and alternatively click any Photoshop UI element outside the search dialog. So what about visual canvas search? You can find similar images in Adobe Stock based on your canvas selection. And so what about default behaviors with search results? When you click a search result, Photoshop performs the default operation associated with its type, like a layer. Layer is meaning selects the layer and makes it visible in the layers panel. And tool is meaning activates the tool and highlights it in the UI. And panel, what about panel? Panel is makes the panel visible and active and highlights and opens it. So what about menu command? Menu command is meaning runs that command search results and may also include disabled menu commands. And what's meaning of recent file? Recent file is open the file. And open document is makes the document active. If you'd like to make the document active, you will press for open document. And help or learn topics opens the topic in a new browser window. And what about the stock asset? Stock asset is downloads the image asset and adds it to your active Creative Cloud library. And for licensed assets, full resolution images are added, by the way. And while for unlicensed assets, watermarked preview are added, and it also gets placed as a cloud linked asset on the canvas.